sports.
We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. And tonight, game number 1 between the Philadelphia Phillies and St. Louis Cardinals. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. That's Tim McCarver. My name is Dan McLaughlin. Delighted to have you with us. John Jay is hitting well above 300 this season. Last 13 games, Tim, he's at 400. He'll bat second tonight. He's swinging a hot bat.
Well, plaudits abound from the Cardinal clubhouse about the way John Jay, not only the way his offensive numbers are put together so far this season, but the way he's handled himself. Coming to spring training, realizing he'd have to battle for a job, and has he ever battled?
He has. Peter Borges, a lot of talk about him, maybe even Oscar Taveras in center. Lo and behold, it's the mainstay, John Jay. Big crowd tonight. Game 1 with the Phils coming up. homestand. Matt Adams was a force in the first series, and the Redbirds swept the division leaders out of town. Next came the Mets, and a youngster named Greenwood helped the Cardinals win 2 of 3. This homestand concludes this weekend against the Phillies. The Cardinals looking to stay hot. First game next on Fox Sports Midwest. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Bud Light Lime, the perfect beer for whatever happens. Come in and visit Mid-American Chevy dealers and make your move to Chevrolet today. And by Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. The Edward Bates statue, Forest Park, shot by our very own Tony West, hard at work as always. As Shelby Miller and the Cardinals take to the field along with Jim Hayes and Tim McCarver. Dan McLaughlin with you, and the first of 4 beginning tonight, the Cardinals and the Phillies. Well, the Phillies looking for a season-best 4th straight win after a 3-game sweep in Atlanta. 10-5 win yesterday. They banged out 18 hits. Some big names in this lineup. Rollins, Ruiz, Utley, Ryan Howard, the St. Louis product, Marlon Byrd, Brown, Mayberry Jr., Brignac, and David Buchanan filling in for Cliff Lee. Could be his final start tonight. Time will tell. Ryan Howard has had tremendous numbers against the St. Louis Cardinals. And this lineup will face Shelby Miller. Tim, our Kia starter is Shelby Miller, looking for win number 8 tonight.
Cardinals have played 72 games this year, and you could make a case that the win that Shelby Miller had against the Toronto Blue Jays on June 6th was the most important game. You could feel the Cardinals backpedaling a little bit. Miller shut out the Toronto Blue Jays in Toronto, and then the next day Lance Lynn did the same thing. So Shelby Miller, who has been tremendously successful here in St. Louis, loves this ballpark, and for good reason.
Does he ever? Rookie season ago in the top 5 for the National League Rookie of the Year award. And at times dominant. He'd love to get back to that form of a season ago. Cardinals defense brought to you by Dobbs. Holiday, Jay, and Craig in the outfield. Carpenter at third. Peralta at short. Wong and Adams on the right side of the infield. Yadier Molina. The summer months are here. It is hot in St. Louis. Can't be an easy job, but he's behind the plate day in and day out. What a player Jimmy Rollins has turned out to be, the all-time hits leader in Phillies history. Ryan Sandberg, the former Chicago Cub, and some forget began his career with the Phillies.
Traded in the winter of 1981 with Larry Boa, his bench coach, for Ivan DeJesus. All he did was become a Hall of Famer with the Chicago Cubs.
The strike to the switch hitting Jimmy Rollins, hitting .247. There's Larry Boa. Nothing in 2. A concern, and we talked about it before with Shelby Miller, the walks. Walked 4 6 2/3. Took a no decision last time out. That was a 4-3 win Saturday for the Cardinals against Washington. How about that? 3 pitches and a strikeout of Rollins.
It's very important for all pitchers to stay ahead. It's more important for Shelby Miller to stay ahead. Not only ahead, but good morning, good afternoon, and good night to Jimmy Rollins. It's like all fastballs were up around the letters, and that is the fort of Shelby Miller.
He's been throwing a ton of fastballs this year. Past month or so, it's even increased by about 10 or 15%. On the whole, he's around 75% fastballs so far this season. Here's Carlos Ruiz, and that pitch is hit out of play. I know Molina gets a ton of the attention, and rightfully so, in Major League Baseball. Jonathan Lucroy is starting to get a little bit more attention thanks to a wonderful ad campaign. And another guy that gets overlooked a little bit, Carlos Ruiz. Very good player for the Phils. And it's a fly ball out to left field, backing up Matt Holliday with room on the track. 2 down. Our broadcast tonight is on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the United States Armed Forces serving in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea. They're watching around the world in Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, and Japan. Welcome, and thank you for what you do. Chase Utley returned to an all-star form this year. 302 average, 5 home runs. He's driven in 33. Leads their club in hits with 79 this year. It's an aging club. It's been that way the last couple of years with guys that were stars in 2008, 9, and 10 when they went to postseason play. But with all those great runs, stars do age. And all of a sudden you see these teams who are built to win not winning. You know, you've got Utley, you've got Rollins, Ruiz, Howard.
I think it's fair to say that the Phils are now clinging to memories that were. But I'll tell you, the memories that were great memories. 5 divisions in a row they won. 1 World Series title back in 2008. That was their 2nd World Series, their first in their 40-year history. Their first was 1980.
Still see Tug McGraw throwing up that glove.
Striking out Willie Wilson of the Kansas City Royals. Last World Series championship for Pete Rose that year.
A 2-2 pitch to Utley. And a fly ball lifted into center. 10 pitches in the inning. John Jay is there. A strikeout, 2 flyouts for Shelby Miller. No score after a half inning. Bottom of the first, and there's no score here at Busch Stadium. Game 1 of 4, the Cardinals and the Phillies. Matt Carpenter will lead it off for St. Louis as he homered yesterday and went 2 for 4 in the loss against the Mets. Then John Jay, Matt Holliday, Craig, Adams, Molina, Peralta, Wong, and the pitcher Miller rounding out the 9 for St. Louis. And number 13 will lead it off for the Cardinals. And this lineup will face David Buchanan. Just his 6th start this year.
7th round pick by the Phillies in 2010. That's June of 2010. You may not realize that there used to be 2 drafts, one in January and one in June. That ceased in 1986.
A strike to Carpenter. We were talking between innings. You might be the only guy that has been in uniform 1980 and would actually, and there's a breaking ball that hits Carpenter, conduct post-game interviews while you're still playing and in uniform.
It was one of the oddest things, and I think back on that time, Dan, I was in uniform and I would actually interview opposing players if they were stars of the game.
That's great.
I came back for September as that breaking ball hits Matt Carpenter on the left foot. So, but it really was strange, you know, looking back on that that period. My first year of broadcasting, and joined the Phillies September 1st as a player. Had 5 at-bats that year. It's a weird year, but the first World Championship for the Phillies.
Amazing. Here's John Jay, who's hitting .311. 400 his last 13 games as he chops that foul. So the legendary Harry Callis. Let's go downstairs to Tim McCarver.
Let's go down to Timmy the Mac. Take it away.
That is great. And the opposing players are okay with this too?
Yeah, I guess they had to. I think they got a book of green stamps or something like that in those days.
Could you imagine Molina after a game? You know, let's go get David Buchanan. He's going to be on the Molina star of the game tonight.
Well, of course, Yachty is a starter. I was anything but a starter that September.
This could be 2. Utley flips to Rollins. Those 2 have done that for a number of years. 4-6-3 on the double play. A look at the Phillies defense tonight with Dominic Brown in left, John Mayberry Jr. in center, Marlon Byrd is in right. Brignac, Rollins, Utley, and Howard along the infield. Carlos Ruiz behind the plate. 2nd fewest errors in the National League. Dobbs around the horn.
I think that double play is not routine for Utley and Rollins. 1,120 games they have now played together.
Amazing. This era of free agency and big stars, which both of them are and have been, and they're able to keep that unit together up the middle. Matt Holliday gets the Mets with career RBI number 1,000. Here it is, 4-6-3 with that double play. Matt has drawn 40 walks this year. That has been something of a little bit of a surprise for Holliday, who's a free swinger early in counts. Hits into a lot of double plays, but he hits the ball hard. That's a byproduct of hard hit balls to an extent.
That's true. It's an odd thing. We've said it many times in double play situations. The hitter has to hit the ball hard. So it's kind of a Hobson's choice for a pitcher to try to get him to hit it hard enough at an infielder so they can turn the double play. Matt does that quite often. He got away with one right there. That was an inside cutter, and Matt gave up on that ball. Like Larry Boa. I bet you that was Larry Boa. Bo, was that you?
What would make you possibly say something like that?
Just a wild guess.
Yes, that is Angel Hernandez behind the plate too. That's a perfect combination. Boa and Angel Hernandez.
Well, formerly the manager of the Phillies, I will guarantee you that was Boa.
3-2, bounced up the middle. Jimmy Rollins to his left, and he makes the play. So Carpenter hit by the pitch, erased on a 4-6-3 double play. Holiday grounds out, and Ryan Howard is coming up. And A.J. Burnett, Adam Wainwright, Cole Hamels on Saturday. Sunday, bit surprising here, Carlos Martinez, and he'll face Kyle Kendrick. For more on that, let's check in with Jim Hayes. And Jim, we're expecting Michael Wacha on Sunday. Why has he been lifted from that start?
Well, Mike Matheny says it's a move to try to rest and limit the innings for Michael Wacha. He factors in the fact that Carlos Martinez had been pitching so well. It's a one-time shift in the rotation. Skipping Wacha just the once, according to Matheny. He says part of a plan they've been discussing about keeping some of the young arms like Wacha from being overextended. Mike says they could skip Wacha again at some point in the season, Dan, just as an effort to limit his innings. But part of that is the fact that Martinez pitched so well, and also Nick Greenwood is still here. He pitched well, so Mike Matheny saw an opportunity to rest Wacha.
Here's Ryan Howard. And so for fans out there, they should not be concerned about anything with the shoulder, the arm, the elbow with Michael Wacha. This is just to give him some extra rest.
Yeah, and I spoke to Michael Wacha just before game time, and he said absolutely no health issues. He said, quote, obviously I want to be out there, but I think this will be beneficial. Begrudgingly, I think, accepting this. He wants to be out there, but he understands down the road could help him, Dan.
Then finally, here's a 1-1 pitch as Howard hits it out of play. How about an update on Kevin Segrist and Joe Kelly?
Well, Kevin Segrist is still on hold as they look at that nerve issue that he has with the shoulder. As for Joe Kelly, he threw another bullpen today, about 30 pitches, and he threw everything. He told me a scheduled short session today. He had his long one on Tuesday. He says he'll throw one more bullpen, then likely go out on a rehab assignment sometime next week. He's done everything, Dan, except run at full speed, and he told me he may not. He told me the hamstring is no longer an issue, but it's not 100%. He told me it probably won't be 100% at any time this season, but Danny says he's fine to pitch.
All right, Jim, thanks. The 2-2, and Howard waves at it. And strikeout number 2 tonight for Shelby Miller. That one with the breaking ball.
Yeah, that was a good breaking ball from Miller to a free-swinging Ryan Howard. Pitch was out of the strike zone. Ryan out on his front foot. Watch that right foot. Front foot. Good curveball to get Howard. Second strikeout for Miller. You know, it used to be, instead of resting it's an unusual move with Michael Wacha, but it used to be, well, we'll send him to the bullpen and straighten him out. I never understood that, because starting pitchers, they are anything when they're sent to the bullpen from a starting standpoint. So I think resting him, even though it's an unusual move, it's not a move without precedent.
Sure. Walker this season with 90 1/3 innings, 5-5. Record not indicative of just how well he has pitched. Marlon Byrd, 1 ball, 1 strike. Lack of run support too.
Excuse me, Dan. That same concern was there last year too.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Cardinals really backloaded his innings, knowing that he could be called up. They could be in postseason play. There's the cutter that misses outside, and it's 2-1. Byrd last year, a bounce back season. Began with the Mets, then picked up by Pittsburgh for the stretch run, and he put up big numbers. Three and 1. And he walked him. So 1 out walk to Marlon Byrd. We turn to Tim's Toyota. Keys to the game.
Now, 2 hot ball clubs. The Mets, after sweeping Washington, won 2 out of 3. Or I should say the Cardinals won 2 out of 3 from the Mets. And then the Phillies off a sweep of the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta now tied for 2nd place in the National League East, with Washington in 1st place, even though they were swept by the Cardinals over the weekend.
Dominic Brown, who's hitting .273 on the road, 168 at home, pops it up. Molina throws the mask and puts it away for the out.
You know, we talked about it a number of times that it's fine for hitters to choose that first pitch at which to swing. But when you're jammed on it, that's a swing that you could understand if the count is no balls and 2 strikes, 1 ball and 2 strikes, because you're really hitting from a pitcher's strength and not your strength. But a first pitch, can't do that. I mean, you can, but not do that and be successful.
John Mayberry Jr., center fielder, hitting .256. Runner at first, that's Marlon Byrd. Outfield is deep. Teams do not run very often against the Cardinals. When they do, it's when Shelby Miller is on the mound. That has been an issue. It was so last year, got better towards the tail end of the season, and here early on this year, he's had issues with that.
Even though Shelby is slow to the plate, he does throw a lot of high fastballs, and that kind of evens things out, because Molina, if the runner does run, he has a lot of good pitches to throw. But you're right, he is slow to the plate. A lot of power pitchers are.
Long look and the 0-1. The Cardinals, what they have talked to Miller about is trying to vary his delivery towards the plate, meaning his time. So you'll see him hold it a little bit longer. You might see him quicken it up. Look at Derek Lilliquist, the Cardinals pitching coach. 1 ball and 1 strike. This time a little quicker, and it's 1-2. Cardinals, in winning 8 of 10, have relied heavily on their starters during that time frame. ERA of 1.23 the last 10 games from the starters. The opponent's average just 175. They've only allowed more than 2 runs in that 10-game frame twice. The 1-2. Two balls and 2 strikes. Pittsburgh won in extra innings today. They're now 35-37. They defeated Cincinnati, and the Reds back to a game below the 500 mark. Cardinals start play tonight, 3.5 games back up Milwaukee. The 2-2 chopped up the middle, ranging far to his right is Wong, and what a play. what he's doing this year?
You know, it's really hard to say because you don't know what pitch was on its way, but it appears to some that Alan Craig is starting with his hands a little lower this year than he did last year. You can bet David Bell, John Mabry have gone over and over and over with this. And sometimes from a hitter standpoint, you really don't know where your hands are because you're trying to concentrate on hitting the ball hard thrown by the pitcher. But it appears to me that Allen's hands are slightly lower to start than they were last year.
Ground ball that's pulled foul. It is such a unique stance that he has.
Yeah.
The barrel of the bat at times is pointed towards the pitcher, then has to come back and catch up in the swing.
Yeah, you've got a long way to go. That arc is a lot greater for a guy like Alan Craig because he points that bat as the ball is on its way toward the pitcher, and that's a long way to go to get it out in front of a major league fastball. I think it's also interesting that the Cardinals have a left-handed batting instructor, John Mabry, and a right-handed batting instructor, David Bell. And I think the Cardinals are really ahead of their time. And I talked to John Mabry about that today during batting practice, if he thought it was necessary. And
lifted out to right. Near the wall is Bird and out of play.
And it was John's thinking, and it's my thinking, that left-handed hitters and right-handed hitters are so distinctively different that organizations should have a right-handed hitting instructor and a left-handed hitting instructor.
Well, it's a great point, and the assistant hitting coach really began with Tony La Russa here in St. Louis.
I didn't know that. Is that right?
Mike Eldreddy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Who's now the bench coach, but he was behind the scenes for a number of years, and the Cardinals felt that the stats, the video, breaking down hitters, looking at pitchers, it just became such a cumbersome job for one. Let's split it for two, and also a couple of available arms to throw BP in or before the game. So it makes sense. The changeup, and Craig strikes out. Time now for you to tweet your photo using the hashtag STLFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast, and it's brought to you by AT&T. What a jolt Matt Adams has given the Cardinals in this lineup since returning.
Since last Friday, he should have changed his name to Mount Adams. He has been on fire. 4 straight games with a game-winning hit. That is not, by the way, an official statistic in Major League Baseball. It was for 9 years from 1980 to 88, but it's still very, very important.
Beats the shift. Base hit for Adams, and the first Cardinal hit tonight. At Busch Stadium this year, Adams got off to a pretty good start. Well, his last 15 games, the BJC Healthcare difference maker, 11 RBIs, the 4 home runs. And like we said, he provides power in this lineup. Here's Yadier Molina, 158 average over his last 16 games. That average overall has dipped to 284. Very short lead at first by Adams. I'm curious, Tim, how did you combat the heat as a catcher? I mean, and you played in some places that were steaming hot, like St. Louis.
Yeah, nothing is hot as
like
St. Louis.
How did you combat it all those years? Was there anything you could do? Is it just mind over matter?
It was before the days that they used to talk about hydrating and drinking plenty of water. In fact, drinking water was almost taboo. You didn't want to drink too much water, but we didn't know. And trainers didn't know at the time. The medical profession didn't know that drinking, this was 50 years ago, a few years ago. Try to hydrate as much as you could, but course, in those days, there were the flannel uniforms, too.
I was about to bring that up.
I just can't imagine going through that again.
I marvel how you did that.
Yeah, I do, too.
But you think about when a guy gets to a ballpark now, and on the road, a Matt Carpenter will go to the ballpark. He'll be there by noon, 1 o'clock. Most players are there by 2:30. And if he asked the great Red Shandy's, the Hall of Famer, when he was playing about batting practice, he said, oh, yeah, well, Stan and I would figure out, we'd carpool together. We'd get picked up at 5:30 from our homes, drive to the ballpark, take about 7 swings, and get ready for the game.
Shake hands and go get them.
You got it. Another big crowd here tonight at Busch Stadium. The Arch is the backdrop here at the ballpark. And a 2-1 pitch to Molina. The hit and run was on. That makes sense with a guy struggling. Maybe get him going, especially the kind of bat control Molina has. It goes the other way so well.
Well, because you're just trying to make contact. A guy like Molina, who has not been swinging the bat well. Just trying to make contact. Forget about hitting behind the runner. That's one of the more overrated things in baseball. You say hit behind the runner. Something as a baseball announcer Howard Cosell used to love, when a guy hit behind the runner.
How'd you bite your tongue, or did you?
It was hilarious. I think Howard considered that the best play in the game ever.
Is that right?
Hitting behind the runner.
How'd you get his head in the door to get into the booth? You know, it's kind of big. You know, the ego.
He made his mark. I'll tell you that. Woof.
Like to hear his thoughts on the shift.
It depends on whether he hit behind the runner. You can look for Adams to run here. 3-2 on Molina.
There he goes, and Yachty hits it to the left side. Rollins won't get there. Adams on his way to third. The Cardinals start the runner, and in doing so, Rollins going to the bag at second, and runners at the corners.
That's right, Jimmy Rollins covering. It was a fastball away, and Molina crosses up the defense by pulling the ball. Watch Rollins break towards second base. Adams going. The pitch is outside. Now Rollins can't retreat in time, and Adams alertly goes to third base. That's who often will determine who covers at second base. If, for instance, it's a fastball outside to a right-handed batter, a guy who can handle the bat like Molina, he's more apt to shoot the ball the other way, hitting behind the runner. And he hit it to Jimmy Rollins' right, crossing up the defense.
Johnny Peralta at the plate.
Watch Matt Adams. He doesn't need the third base coach. You can see the left fielder. He knows what kind of jump he had from first base. And with one out, trying to get to third, and he does without a play.
The 0-1. A cutter misses low and away. Peralta, 28 of his 59 hits have either been a home run or a double. With runners in scoring position, though, that's the issue. Hitting just 148. He's grounded into 9 double plays. And that's a strike. Didn't like the call. And it's 1-2. Johnny had started every game for the Cardinals since May 28th. Had yesterday off. 2-2. Buchanan gave up 3 home runs in his last start. That was against the Chicago Cubs. Earned the win, snapped a personal 3-game losing skid. I mentioned earlier filling in for Cliff Lee, who's close to returning to their rotation.
Cliff Lee with a left elbow problem.
And he strikes out. 2 strikeouts, both in this inning for Buchanan.
After the changeup, Buchanan goes to the cut fastball to get Peralta. That bedevils every team with a runner on at third base and less than 2 outs, where even a fielder's choice would score a run.
Here's Cole Long, who's hitting .238. Made a tremendous play to end the top half of this inning off the bat of John Mayberry Jr. That pitch is popped up and fouled back for strike 1. Two outs, runners in scoring position. Look at those numbers. He is 9 for 20. Outfield very shallow. In particular, John Mayberry Jr. in center. Line drive, and that is caught. It's a catch. Just to make sure, Rollins stepping on the bag at second. Buchanan out of a jam here in the second inning. Stadium in St. Louis, game 1 of 4 between the Cardinals and the Phillies. And looking over his notes is the great Marshall Falk.
Yeah, I'm actually looking over the legendary guy in Tim McCarver. I'm like looking at his notes. This is great. This is great information.
You do some games.
I do. This is like
not baseball.
No, not at all. And there's a lot of information here. Because in baseball there's a lot of downtime, so you must have information. And yes, and I was listening to you guys, and it's interesting. I mean, he comes up with facts and stats about guys and just little nuggets. So when you're watching a game, you hold on to it.
He's great. He has been tremendous, and we're excited to have him. We're excited to have you back in St. Louis, and you've got your annual golf tournament coming up.
Yes, and I'm excited about it. Once again, the partnership with Lemire Place, and now that's a Tropicana property. I'm happy with that because the monies that we raise, we put it back in the community here in St. Louis because I'm always grateful because this community, they gave me all that they had.
Sure.
So now that I'm done playing, I'm trying to make sure that I continue to put funds and effort back into this community.
And the first pitch by Shelby Miller to Reed Brignac is a strike. Marshall Falk is with us. The golf tournament is at Far Oaks. You can sign up or donate. LumierePlaceGolfClassic.com. And much of the proceeds will go to Lift for Life Gym. And so you're trying to make a difference for kids and a place to go after school, before school, and during the summer months.
Yeah, because most of the inner city kids, I'm an inner city kid. I was an inner city kid. If you come from a single-family home and your parents working, you don't have a place to go. You don't have that structure to enforce. Hey, let's read. Let's do homework. Let's help you with homework. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to provide these kids just an opportunity and a chance to live the life of a normal kid that has both parents.
LumierePlaceGolfClassic.com. And again, you can see Marshall Faulk's Celebrity Golf Tournament July 6th. We'll have that for you at 5, a 1-hour special right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Here is David Buchanan searching for his first base hit. And he looks at a strike from Shelby Miller. You look in great shape, man. I mean, are you thinking about making a comeback anytime soon? Just give me a couple yards, will you? You know, the Rams every once in a while need to get those yards. Come on back.
I'm fighting the fight. That's what it is. When you retire as an athlete, it's about you wake up with the purpose to work out when you're playing.
Right.
And when you're not playing, you wake up and there's no purpose, and you have to force yourself to get out of bed and work out and challenge yourself. That's the fight. That's the fight of everyday life when you're a retired athlete.
Well, you look great.
I'm trying.
You're doing a lot of work with NFL Network too, right?
I am. It's fun. I work with a great organization in the NFL Network, with a great group of guys. I love the guys I work with. And if you have NFL Network and you watch us on Thursday nights or you watch us on Sunday mornings, it's genuine. We all have fun. We love working with each other. I have Kurt on board with us. Torrey bounces in and does stuff with us. Mike Martin shows up every once in a while and does some stuff with us. It's just fun to work with the guys that I work with.
So when Martz walks in the room, does he come in with like crazy game plans? You know,
Always.
Guys, here's what we're going to do today.
It does not change. He is who he is, and what I love about him is he's going to stay true to it. And I hope that people that watch the NFL understand that the game that we watch started here in St. Louis.
Yes.
When we were throwing the ball 40 times, 50 times, that was crazy football. He was crazy. Nobody else. Why are we doing this? And now, if your quarterback does not throw it 40 or 50 times, as a head coach, you're getting fired.
No question about it. You know, the guys that were rushing for 1,800 yards, they're like dinosaurs now. You don't hear about those guys anymore. It doesn't happen. There's a base hit for Rollins.
It's about being a football player.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. If you're a running back and you can't pass protect and you can't catch the ball out of the backfield, if you can't line up in multiple positions, and so teams can't now, when you run players out there, decide, okay, this is what they're going to line up in. If you can't give multiple looks, then it's going to be hard for you to fit in to systems. And those 1,800, 2,000-yard backs, they're no longer in existence, and the game changed that.
You've got a bunch of guys coming in for the event this weekend, too. Who are some of the names?
Well, dinosaurs, if you want to talk about, like, an Eric Dickerson, a Marcus Allen.
I didn't mean it that way.
I'm just saying, guys that got an opportunity, they knew they were getting the football 30 times a game, and they were going to carry it. Lucas Black, we got an actor. Al Robowski's going to play this year. I can't wait to see that golf swing. Can't wait to see that.
No, you don't want to see it.
I just want to see it. We have Ozzie Smith. He's going to show up. You know, we have a lot of guys that come in and support what we do here. Sterling Sharp. They just come.
You've won your own tournament, though. You can't do that, okay? You've got to. Me. You got to miss some putts. Because you got to rim some out, okay? You got to maybe shank a couple.
So does that mean Buzz Selig, doesn't he own part of the Brewers? Are they not supposed to win?
Well, we don't need to go down that road.
Is that what we're saying?
No, we don't need to go.
I'm just
this
asking
is for charity, Marshall. Okay, we got to have people come back.
I'm just trying to figure this out. I just want to know. Like, we all tee it up when we play, and just because my name is on the tournament does not mean that I can't win. Everybody, if you watch me play, I play to win.
What are you playing to now?
I don't care what I do.
What's your handicap?
A number.
You want to throw it out there?
Nope.
Is it a minus?
Nope.
Okay. All right. You're giving people a chance then.
I'm decent at golf. I work at it.
I know you're decent. You're a little bit better than decent.
I do okay for myself.
Yeah. Sandbagging everybody that comes to this event.
Oh, no. That's not even fair. Those aren't even words to use when you talk about me in golf. Sandbagging. That's a slap in the face.
Give me your favorite play as an NFL player. In St. Louis, what was your favorite play?
When the ball was coming to me.
Yeah.
Any combination of numbers, because it came in 0-27, 5-25, but it always had H post. It was my play out of the backfield. You saw me catch the ball going across the middle. I was always fascinated about that play because it's a scary play, and the trust must be in the receiver, which was me at that time, that Kurt was going to throw the ball and keep me out of danger because the linebacker's coming out. I'm catching the ball in between two guys. Yeah. And if I catch it, if he throws it on time and I catch it perfectly clean, I split them, and it's a foot race. And we ran the play so many times. They knew it was coming. They'd see me, here comes the play, and they could not stop it.
Well, you're so quick. I mean, your feet were so quick. You're fast, but you were quick. And you were able to avoid contact. And I'll tell you what, I was doing a Fox Sports game, and I'm on the sidelines. They pitched it to you or something. It doesn't matter. It was like watching a train wreck, okay? And I'm thinking to myself, how has this guy played this long and been able to get up after every play? How do you get out of bed now? I mean, you feel good. How did you able to absorb that contact day after day?
No, you work at it. It's a conditioning that you do. I could not imagine if someone decided in college, hey, I want to play football for the first time. I believe that as a little kid, a lot of the things that we learn, you learn.
Oh, got him.
You learn. That was a good throw right there, obviously.
But you learn as you go.
I can't even believe you run on Yachty. I mean, what are you thinking? But anyways, you learn as you go. You condition yourself. You condition your body, and you learn how to take the hits, and you play the game.
Again, the Marshall Falk Golf Classic, the Lumiere Place golfclassic.com is where you go. And we're going to have a challenge here from Ryan Sandberg.
I like this.
By the way, instant replay in football, a little different than baseball.
Listen, regardless of what sport, to be human is to err. And this is what we do. And too often, calls in games, whether it's baseball, basketball, or football, can decide a manager's job or a player's job.
Yeah.
And the referees or the umpires need to be held accountable just like we are. And this is what holds them accountable.
They got him here. Marshall Falk, always great to see him.
Same here.
Awesome to see you.
Pleasure.
Raise a lot of money, will you please? You got it. Again, go to LumierePlaceGolfClassic.com. One of the all-time greats, Marshall Falk. No score midway through 3. Park early. It's the Budweiser Bash out in the Ford Plaza, and this week it'll feature Rick Horton. And for more information, Cardinals.com/promotions. Rick will be out there signing autographs early on.
Does Ricky sign left-handed or right-handed?
Lefty.
Lefty.
A lot of lefties, though.
Yeah.
You're right. It's the oddest thing you'll ever see. We'll sign right-handed.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's legible, but he does sign it.
When you graduate from the University of Virginia, it's legible.
Right?
Yes.
Ricky, one of the great guys that we have a chance to deal with. That swung on and missed by Shelby Miller, who has 4 hits, and of the 4 hits, 3 have been doubles. And the 1-2 pitch. Prior to that caught stealing, the Phillies against Yadier Molina, this started back in 2004, were 20 of 21 in stolen bases. That's off the end of the bat.
Dan, you threw that on me when I got back in the booth when Marshall left, and I couldn't believe that. That's amazing.
It is. Fox Sports Supports proud to collaborate with Stand Up to Cancer, groundbreaking initiative created to accelerate innovative cancer research that gets new therapies to patients very quickly in order to save lives now. For more information, visit foxsportsupports.com. That was not a challenge by Ryan Sandberg. We're back to the top of the lineup, and Matt Carpenter. And it was one of those in-between challenges, if you will.
Yeah.
The players stayed on the field. Ryan Sandberg started to go out. His team went after a couple of replays, looked at it, and said, don't challenge it.
There was a very, very quick tag by Colton Wong, a good base runner in his own right, and realizes the value of tagging quickly to get the call.
Matt Carpenter hit by a pitch back in the first inning, then erased on a double play. No score here at Busch. One thing replay has done, it has eliminated the good old-fashioned argument.
Well, Larry Bowa was talking about that. That's what we were kidding that first inning, saying Larry was probably the guy who was yelling at Angel Hernandez, and Bo said the replay has taken arguments out of the game. He said, come on, that's what we used to live for. Thrown out 4 or 5 times when he was manager of the Phillies.
Good old Earl Weaver argument.
Oh, man.
Hat backwards, thrown, kicking dirt.
Yeah, hat backwards so the bill wouldn't poke the umpire in the eye.
Lou Piniella was fun to watch, too.
Yes, he was. Sweet Lou.
The 3-2 pitch, and Carpenter grounds it sharply to first, taken there by Howard. 2 down.
Earl Weaver from St. Louis.
Went to Beaumont High School.
Yeah, the greatest of a lot of great Earl Weaver stories. Pat Kelly was the head of the Sunday Chapel at Minnesota years ago. And Earl was not feeling well that morning, a day game. And Pat Kelly asked Earl if he was going to chapel. Earl said no. He said, Pat said, you mean you don't want to walk with the Lord? And Earl said, what I want is a walk with the bases loaded.
You know, his father.
He was a beauty.
Well, his father was a dry cleaner and cleaned the uniforms for both the Cardinals and the Browns.
And Earl delivered the uniforms as a 14-year-old to the old ballpark at Grand and Dodier. Unbelievable.
It really was. Pitching, defense, and a 3-run homer. Earl Weaver. No score as we head to the 4th. Last night history on the West Coast. Clayton Kershaw with an 8-run lead and a no-hitter. He strikes out 15 against a very good offensive club in the Colorado Rockies. History last night at Dodger Stadium.
15 strikeouts and a no-hitter.
Kershaw, Gibson, Koufax, last 3 reigning Cy Young Award winners to throw a no-hitter. 1971 for Gibson. So many comparisons with Kershaw and Sandy Koufax. Dodgers, lefties, dominant. You've seen both, and I don't know if those comparisons are fair to Clayton Kershaw, but they are made.
Well, they're really not fair to Sandy Koufax either. There was only one Koufax. I mean, Koufax won 3 Cy Young Awards when there was only 1 Cy Young Award given for both leagues.
Leadoff double for Carlos Ruiz on a line drive into right center that was cut off by Craig. Brings in Chase Utley.
Good hitting by Ruiz, a hanging breaking ball to right center field. Waiting back. He's a good hitter. He is particularly a good number 2 spot hitter. Having fun with Johnny Peralta down there.
Now it's Utley who flied out to center. 24 doubles this year for Chase Utley, showing bunt. It looks at a strike.
Our pregame comments, we talked about John Jay and the plaudits of respect for Jay in the Cardinal clubhouse. That's the same with Chase Utley in the Philly clubhouse. Very few players are respected as much as Chase Utley.
You look at his swing, it is so short and so compact.
Compact, yes. Yeah.
When he first came up, folks around this ball club, the Cardinals, wondered just how good Chase Utley would be, replacing a very good player, Placido Polanco, who we saw for a number of years here in St. Louis. There's a ground ball and a base hit. Will they test Craig? Runners held up. That's Ruiz. It's cut off by Adams, and runners at the corners, and nobody out for Ryan Howard.
That's that compact swing that you were talking about, Dan. Very little margin for error. A fastball in on the hand, short and quick. Even though Chase Utley's 35 years old. Nobody out. Standard procedure to hold the runner at third base.
Well, Ryan Howard struck out swinging back in the 2nd inning. He's driven in at least 2 runs in 3 straight games after going 7 without an RBI. And over the years, he has had some fun at the expense of the Cardinals. Ground ball past Wong and into right field. 1-0 Phillies. The RBI for Ryan Howard. 3 consecutive hits for the Phils to open up the top of the 4th.
No, normally the Cardinals would have the shift on in a situation like this, but a double play situation. This ball goes to the right of Colton Wong. Colton diving for it. It goes under his glove. Utley easily goes to third base. I mean, if you're going to put a shift on, the one guy you would think in the National League that you shift against would be Ryan Howard, because he hits very few balls to the left side. I wonder if the Cardinals do it the next time up. We'll see.
Now it's Marlon Byrd. Ryan Howard against the Cardinals in his career. And tonight is the 51st game against St. Louis he's played in. He's now driven in 55 with 27 home runs. Lafayette High School, then on to Missouri State, formerly Southwest Missouri State. and on to the big leagues. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Blew it right by him. Good numbers for Bird with runners in scoring position. Got him, a strikeout of Marlon Bird. 4 tonight for Shelby Miller.
83rd time this year that Marlon Bird has gone down on strikes. Ryan Howard leads the National League. Marlon Bird is 3rd.
Under Shelby Miller, you're a double play away from getting out of this inning with just 1 run allowed. Dominic Brown on the first pitch, jammed, popped it up to Molina behind home plate. Yachty setting up inside again. Right field. Catch made by Craig. Runner will tag up, throwing to second base. 2-0 Phillies. RBI for Dominic Brown, number 37.
Ryan Howard hit the first pitch for the single and RBI. Dominic Brown again, first ball hitting. And Utley scores.
John Mayberry Jr. grounded out to second on a play that Colton Wong ranged all the way to the shortstop side of the bag. There's a good breaking ball and a strike. The Phillies have pulled to within 6 games of the 500 mark, but yet only 5 games out in the National League East. There's a ground ball chopped to short. Peralta to Wong in the force play. Shelby Miller gives up a couple of runs. We're midway through 4. Phil's on top, 2-0. All-star bound Albert Pujols got off to a torrid start. Has cooled off a little bit since. His Angels club is 5 games back of Oakland in the American League West. The familiar swing and finish of Pujols, who is hitting just .257. The 16 home runs, 44 RBIs.
How about the Oakland Athletics with the best record in baseball?
21-14 at home, 23-14 on the road. An inside their own division, 7 games above 500. And a former Oakland A here in Matt Holliday. Holliday grounded out to short first time up and chops it foul. You think about 1,000 RBIs, quite an accomplishment for Matt Holliday. I think underappreciated in this town. Came over 2009, stretch run of that team, and just destroyed the baseball when he got to St. Louis. Did have a costly error on a misplay in left field against the Dodgers in the playoffs on a drop ball that would have won a game.
Yeah.
Then he signs the biggest deal in franchise history, the check swing, and he did go. And it just seems like when you put the money to it in the conversation, expectations rise so high with a fan base, and I think that's part of the issue here with Matt Holliday.
That's one of the concerns that any player has by signing a big contract, but by today's standards was not that big. $120 million.
Strikeout number 3. Reminder, MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, celebrating 12 years. You can join the millions of subscribers, watch every out-of-market game live online or in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Visit Cardinals.com for details. 3rd strikeout for David Buchanan. And here's Alan Craig, who struck out his first time up. In his starts, innings 1 and 2 for Buchanan, an ERA that's under 2. 3rd inning, and after that, ERA jumps to over 8.
First year of free agency was 1976, and Mike Schmidt, the greatest third baseman of all time, the Phillies third baseman, only team with whom he played. He's listening tonight from Denver, Colorado, and he remembers this contract that he signed, the first big one, for $600,000 a year, a 5-year deal. And to a man, we thought nobody will ever make more money than that. $600,000 a year. Well, they have.
Wow.
Michael Jack's got a smile on his face right now. A 5-year deal for $3 million. That was the first year of free agency.
Talking with the Phillies personnel, they said nobody was more happy for Jimmy Rollins breaking Schmidt's all-time hits record than Mike Schmidt.
Yeah, that's kind of why I brought it up. Seeing Jimmy Rollins breaking Mike's record for all-time Philly hits. Very close friends. The things Mike Schmidt could do on a baseball field were staggering. A lot of people compare Mike Schmidt with Brooks Robinson, and the thing about Brooks Robinson, who was a great player, but he had to play shallow. He didn't have the throwing arm that Schmidt had, and Schmidt played on the artificial surface and had to play deep. And it was as though he were playing shallow. That's how strong his arm was. He had an outfielder's arm playing third.
Here's a 1-2 to Craig, and he strikes out. I'm curious where you might put a Scott Rowland in that conversation in terms of greatest defensive third baseman.
Yeah. Well, of course, I was talking overall.
Sure.
In Mike's case, but Scott Rowland, as far as maximizing his ability, not only defensively but running the bases, for the speed that Scott Rowland had, he was the best base runner I ever saw.
Really?
The best I've ever seen. Yes.
It's quite a statement.
Not the fastest, but a guy who maximized his speed.
Now it's Matt Adams with 2 outs. Cardinals trailing 2-0. He singled up the middle. shift has changed just a bit this time for Adams. Before, Rollins was on the second base side of the bag. Now the shortstop more towards his natural position. Third baseman well off the line. Adams into right center. And that ball is caught by John Mayberry Jr. 1 for 2 on the night. We played 4. And the Phils on top 2-0. Early, watch batting practice from the stands in your new batting practice hat. AT&T sending 25,000 fans 16 and older home with their very own adult replica batting practice hat. Also has the National League Championship logo on it. And get yours at cardinals.com/promotions. The Bob Gibson jersey giveaway is tomorrow night. Hat on Sunday. And there's a strike to the 8th place hitter in this lineup, Reed Brignac. Buchanan on deck and in the top of the lineup. That's pulled. Oh, what a play here by Matt Adams. Sliding to the bag, it's Miller, and the pitcher beats Brignac to the bag, and he's hurt.
Oh, boy. Well, Shelby Miller delayed getting over there. He was a spectator. He couldn't believe how good a play that was, and that hesitation made him slide into first base. Miller appears to be all right, and Brignac is the one that hurt. It looks like his left shin, ankle from the foot to the knee. That momentary delay of Shelby Miller. What a play by Matt Adams. My goodness. That looks serious there.
Before we show the replay, the guys in the truck tell us that the injury is fairly gruesome, so you may want to look away, but it's good to see that he's able to put some weight on it.
Fully extended Matt Adams. There was a delay by Shelby Miller. That's why he had to slide into the bag. Watch the right foot of Shelby Miller buckling. And then Brignac going in. Looked like he hit the base with the side of his left foot.
Tim, it also gives viewers an understanding and an idea the lack of give with a major league base.
To a base. That's right.
I mean, those things are bolted down.
Yeah, that's right.
In the dirt.
So you had the left ankle of Reed Brignac and the left ankle of Shelby Miller. Check that, the right ankle of Shelby Miller. Shelby appears to be all right. Brignac, not so.
So one out here in the top of the fifth. And it brings in David Buchanan, who flied to center first time up. First pitch to him is popped up on the infield. Carpenter is called off by Peralta, 2 down.
Folks, you may or may not know that on balls hit to the right side of the infield, it is as natural as spring follows the winter for a catcher to yell, "Get over there, get over there." Anytime a ball is hit to the right, and the reason that catchers do that is because pitchers are trying to make that pitch, and that momentary delay can be the big difference between a guy being out and safe at first base. It was almost the case there, but that moment's hesitation caused Shelby Miller to have to slide, and it also caused Brignac's injury in a sense right there. That just a moment hesitation on Shelby Miller breaking to his left.
0-2 on Jimmy Rollins. Joined the Phillies at the age of 21. In his 15th season with the Phils. Second round pick back in 1996. That single to right field on Sunday gave him 2,235 hits at the time. It was against the Chicago Cubs in the 5th at home. And he became the Phil's all-time hits leader. And a fly ball lifted to left field. Holiday back, and he makes the play. Molina, Peralta, and Wong coming up for St. Louis. 2-0 Phillies. Ball is brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by Schnucks, your neighborhood hometown grocer for 75 years. The Muni at Forest Park. Molina, Peralta, and Wong due up. 2-0 Phils. Cesar Hernandez is the new third baseman after the injury to Reed Brignac. First pitch to Yadier Molina, taken low and outside, and we're underway in the home half of the fifth. Cardinals with a runner at first back in the second inning. That was Matt Adams after a single. Started him on a 3-2 pitch. Molina singled to right. That's it out of play. 2 balls and 1 strike. There's a broken bat, slowly hit to the right side. Buchanan is at the bag. It's him. Get over, get over. We could hear that up here.
Carlos Ruiz yelling, get over, get over.
A little hesitant was Buchanan too, until he realized that Howard was not going to be able to get back to the bag.
Well, pitchers concentrate so much on the pitches that's why there's that momentary delay. I mean, there's a big difference in covering first base in spring training, as you see thousands of times or hundreds of times for guys getting over there, that fielding practice. But when it's during the game and the guy is concentrating on making his pitch, it's almost understandable that momentary glitch could be the difference between an out and a base hit.
Johnny Peralta came up in the second inning with 2 on and 1 out and struck out. Ground ball that's hit to short, taken by Rollins. 2 down. You can download the new McD app for a great deal sent directly to your smartphone right now. Get a free large sandwich with any purchase just for downloading. It's 10 in a row set down by David Buchanan, and the hitter is Colton Wong, who lined out. We're talking about the heyday of the Phillies with this core group of Rollins, Utley, Howard. The pitching at that point in time was just remarkable as Wong lines it foul. You had Cliff Lee and Roy Halladay, Cole Hamels. Their pitching was able to carry them many times if their offense would have an off night. Halladay has since retired. Great starting pitching and a poor bullpen, and now they have poor starting pitching and a great bullpen. Yes. Utley makes the play. 11 in a row by this right-hander. We head to the 6th. Phil's on top here in game 1. Stanton, McCutchen, and Puig in the outfield. Chase Utley of the Phillies at second base. The Cardinals have Yadier Molina. And the All-Star game will be exclusively seen on Fox July 15th. There were some that did not take kindly to the parody, if you will, put together by the Milwaukee Brewers in support of Jonathan Lucroy and some perceived shots at the Cardinals organization.
We were talking before the game, Dan. I saw it along with you. I'm sure everybody's seen it on the internet. I thought Mike Matheny handled it about as well as he could. I didn't think it was that inflammatory.
I didn't either.
I really didn't.
I thought it was just folks having a little fun.
Yeah. Trying to garner votes. And Lucroy's going to be a part of the All-Star game. He's not going to be the starter. And he doesn't deserve to be the starter. Molina does.
Right now, Lucroy is leading the National League in hits, which is a bit surprising, but
he's a good player. No question about that. Oh, no doubt about it. But you're looking at the best in the game right there, and he's been that for a long time. Period of years, not 2.5 months.
Carlos Ruiz pulls it foul. Ruiz got it all started for the Phils in the top of the 4th with a double to right center. And was brought in on a base hit by Ryan Howard. Ooh, just a bit low. Miller has walked only 1. He has struck out 4 tonight. The Phillies have 4 base hits, the Cardinals with 2. Not in the lineup for the Phillies tonight, not here at the ballpark, understandably so, is Tony Gwynn Jr. After the passing of his father, he's on the bereavement list. What a player, what a man, Tony Gwynn.
Well, I should say.
Couple of hops hit to short, taken by Peralta. One of the lasting images of 2011, and it's a tough one for the Phillies fans, but was Ryan Howard going down on the final out of the division series in a masterful game, a game for the ages, with Roy Halladay, Chris Carpenter. 2011 Game 5 division series. Howard on deck here, but that play, he tore his Achilles, cost him all of 2012, and last year dealt with a left knee injury. You talk about a classic game. That was one of them.
Classic game, and what an ending. What a horrible ending for the Phillies. They won 102 games that year, and everybody chose them as the not the dark horse, but as the favorite to win the World Championship. That's tough to do when you have to win 11 now. This is the first round. Game 5.
There's a line drive and drops it in front of Halladay. A base hit for Utley, who's 2 for 3. Well, Stan McNeil, who covers the Cardinals on FoxSportsMidwest.com, is answering your Cardinals questions on Twitter throughout the game. Just tweet Stan at Stan McNeil. There's Stan. Chris Carpenter went the distance in that game. It was 3 hits allowed.
The brilliant game by Carpenter.
It really was. First pitcher to throw that complete game shutout in the deciding game of a playoff series. First since Jack Morris did it. 1991 World Series.
Same score, 1-0. Morris took 10 innings. Chris took 9.
Rafael Furcal led off the game. Had a triple. Skip Schumacher a key at bat early on. Drove in a run, and that was the difference in the game. There's a ground out by Howard to Nick Punto, who was the second baseman at that point in time for the Cardinals late in the game. And Chris Carpenter and the Redbirds were off to the NLCS. The shift on here for Ryan Howard. You wondered if the Cardinals would put this shift on. Same situation with the runner on.
Of course, you had first and third the last time, so that is a bit of a different mix, but clearly a pull hitter. So if you pull the third baseman over or leave Peralta in the middle, have 3 men on the left, then you have nobody to protect the third baseman. And that's why Mike Matheny, I would imagine, didn't have everybody shifted like they are right now. Good curveball from Shelby Miller, having Howard out in front.
27th game for Ryan Howard here in St. Louis. He's had 9 home runs in this ballpark. .368 average. Hits it the other way. Left field line, and this ball is a home run. Opposite way, Ryan Howard with a 2-run shot. And how did that get out of here?
Looked like it hit the top of the fence about 2 feet fair.
Leads their club in home runs with 14. He's picked up 3 RBIs tonight, now up to 50.
Dan, I don't think it reached the foul pole. I think it hit the top of the fence and hit to the left of the foul pole. See that Webster sign
Good
right
call.
there?
Yep, exactly right. Yeah, that Webster sign, it jets out.
It's deceptive.
Yes.
That ball was hit about 337 feet down the left field line.
If that. 336 down the line. Man, oh man. That's the one thing Howard does, though, in his ballpark at Citizens Bank, where it just jumps. But opposite field power is tremendous.
Oh, yeah. Mammoth power.
There's a fly ball out to center field. Jay going back and makes the catch. Well, there's something about playing his hometown team. Ryan Howard has destroyed the Cardinals over the years.
It is amazing. His 10th home run in 28 games.
At this ballpark. Overall, that's now 28 home runs in 51 games against St. Louis.
Yeah.
That's now 57 RBIs in 51 games for Howard against the Cardinals. A 4-0 lead for the Phils. That pitch is taken low, and it's 2 balls and no strikes on Dominic Brown with 2 outs and nobody on here at the top of the 6th. Two-out walk, the second walk issued by Miller. I'm sure the Cardinals will keep a real close eye on him right now after allowing the 2-run homer. You see him flip the rosin bag, and now Derek Lilliquist out to visit. That home run was his 11th that he's allowed, most on the staff. 2 more walks tonight, which has been an issue. That's now 40 walks this season, handed out by Miller.
The thing is, against National League teams, however, Shelby Miller has done extraordinarily well. This is his 20th start against NL teams. Of course, he has pitched a few interleague games. But coming into this game, he allowed in those 19 games against National League clubs only a 1.34 earned run average.
So good at home overall, and yet trailing tonight 4-0. Mayberry Jr. pops it foul out of play.
And keep in mind, you're facing a red hot team. I mean, the Philadelphia Phillies with 18 hits against Atlanta last night. For the 4th time this year, they scored double-figure runs.
Miller is due up first for the Cardinals, looking to the bottom of the 6th. In the air again, and it's popped up. Colton Wong. Phillies strand a runner, but Ryan Howard does it again. 3 RBIs tonight. The Nissan drive of the game as we head to a break. Just enough to get over the wall, and it's 4-0 Phils. Look at the American League All-Star balloting so far by the fans. You can vote on MLB.com through July 3rd. And a reminder that the game will be seen on Fox. What will be a farewell show, I'm sure, in dedication to Derek Jeter. Shelby Miller leads it off, followed by Carpenter and Jay.
Also, the unfortunate thing, Dan, about that voting, Matt Wieters of the Baltimore Orioles being voted in as the starting catcher. He will undergo Tommy John surgery this year. I don't think he's had it yet, has he?
I don't believe he has.
I don't believe so.
They prolonged it as much as they could.
Yeah.
They figured they couldn't wait any longer. It was going to have to be done. They wanted to play next year. Typically, position players, and it's odd, I'm not sure about catchers, but position players, it's about 8 months.
Yeah, I would imagine for a catcher it would be longer because of the rigors of the position. But I don't remember offhand any catchers that have had the Tommy John surgery.
Me neither. Middle infield.
Yeah.
You know, Rafael Furcal's a good example. Cardinals had a few years ago, remember Tony Womack was in St. Louis. He came back from Tommy John after about 6 to 7 months. The 2-2. Ripped into left center field off the bat of Shelby Miller. Rolling to the wall. Miller will stop at second base.
Another double.
4 of his 5 hits this year have been doubles.
Mike Matheny trying to get Shelby Miller one more at bat to go through the Philly lineup one more time to save the bullpen, and Miller comes up with a double to open the 6th inning.
I'd be curious to see the numbers after a pitcher, let's say midway through a game, gets on base, has to run, or gets a double in this case, and what those numbers look like pitching the following inning. Cardinals have had issues with that for whatever reason this year.
Well, their pitching staff's a good hitting staff.
It's a good problem.
It's a good problem to have because they're going to be on base a lot. Keep in mind, Shelby Miller had that play at first base where Reed Brignac was injured. We'll try to let you know the severity of that injury once we find out, of course.
You saw that number with Matt Carpenter, 345 with runners in scoring position. That's 8th best in the National League. I'd also be curious about the numbers for Carpenter if he dropped down in the lineup. If he was not your leadoff man, how many RBIs would he get?
If he were hitting third.
Exactly.
Or fifth.
Now his importance to the top of the lineup is obviously great for the Cardinals. Leads the club in runs, on base percentage. He's second in walks. As Mike Matheny has moved to a different spot in the dugout. Little flare, right center, and the catch will be made. Mayberry Jr. makes the play. And Miller stays put at second. What's on tap is brought to you by Budweiser. Good matchup tomorrow. A.J. Burnett, former Pirate, 4-6. Jaime Garcia, 3-0. We'll come your way at 6:30 with the pregame show. John Jay has bounced into a double play, 4-6-3. First time up and also grounded out to short. Jay is hitting .307, and I'm not sure we should be surprised. He's a career .293 hitter.
Yeah. Changed his batting stance around to where he actually sets the bat on his left shoulder now.
Another play at first, and this time to the bag quickly. Buchanan for the out. Miller to third. And it's up to Holiday, who is over 2 with a ground out and a strikeout. Buchanan has been very good here tonight. He struck out 4 and allowed just 3 base hits.
You know what he's done, Dan? He's moved the ball from the outside part of the plate to the inside part of the plate. He's worked very well. Pitchers and catchers call that east and west. And I think, all things considered, that's the best way to pitch major league hitters. You hear it all the time. He's got to keep the ball down. He's got that. You keep the ball down if you're in the middle of the plate. If you work the outside 1/17 of an inch and the inside 1/17 of an inch, then it doesn't really matter whether the ball's down or not.
The high fly ball out to left. Dominic Brown is there. The Cardinals waste a leadoff double by Shelby Miller. We'll jump ahead to the 7th when we come back. Championship team, our partner, part of that. 25,000 fans, 16 and older, receive a replica jersey. That's tomorrow night, just like the one that MVP Bob Gibson wore as he pitched during that championship game. Adult replica 1964 Bob Gibson jersey. That giveaway is tomorrow night. Still tickets available. I don't think that young fan remembers 64, but much of Cardinal Nation does. That great run to the 60s. Cardinals trailing by 4 runs. Shelby Miller pitching into the 7th inning. He'll get the bottom of the lineup. Cesar Hernandez filling in for Reed Brignac. And as Tim told you, once we get word on Brignac and the severity of the injury, we'll pass it along. We haven't heard anything yet. Then the pitcher Buchanan and Jimmy Rollins. So the Phils trying to make it a season best 4th straight win. We were talking about this the other day, where a lot of teams feel, and here's the Phillies are a great case. They're 6 games below 500, but yet they feel we're still in this thing. We're starting to turn the corner a little bit, coming off a sweep of Atlanta, and only 5 games out. When you mix in the wild card and the fact that you can still improve your team late. If I'm the Phillies, I'm Ruben Amaro. I put a lot of stock into big contracts with veteran players. You roll the dice maybe one more year and say, we'll give it a shot.
Well, you have to do it if it's late July. I don't think there's any question about that. Big article in the New York Times the other day about parity in baseball. I think the parity is with the hitters, not with the pitchers. I think the pitchers are, you know, I think you can see it in the late innings now. Another 12-inning game between the Pirates and the Reds today. I'd like to know, as Buchanan's up there to bunt, but I would like to know how many runs have been scored in the 10th and 11th innings this year. It seems like we've had in baseball so many 12 and 13 run innings, but when offenses run into guys like Aroldis Chapman or somebody like that, or that short relief, it gives them nothing but problems. Same true as the Pirates won in 12 against Cincinnati today.
Read that same article, and I was talking to some of the personnel here at the ballpark the other night, and I asked them, it was scouts mainly, what do you attribute this to? And it was interesting. They talked about the cutter gaining more prominence throughout baseball, as you mentioned. The specialty pitching of late innings, you know, lefty-lefty matchups, power arms coming out of the bullpen, all those things make it very, very tough to do the hardest thing in sports, and that's hit a baseball.
Yeah, Jim Hayes talking about Kevin Segrist earlier.
Carpenter thought about going to second, gets the shore out.
Yeah, if Shelby Miller feels that ball, maybe there's a chance at second base, but Carpenter coming that far had too far to go. Yeah, Gordon Lakey, who is the director of scouting with the Philadelphia Phillies, was up in the booth about a month ago or something like that, and he was talking about, you know, the Philadelphia Phillies and talking about what a tough year this is with, you know, with all the long-term contracts and things like that. They're almost paying for those 5 consecutive years of winning their division.
I think most fans would take it.
Oh yeah,
you know,
for 5 straight years, absolutely.
Now it's Jimmy Rollins, who is 1 for 3 with a strikeout. Single to right, then was caught stealing back in the 3rd. Pitch number 84 on the night from Shelby Miller. Let's go back to the sacrifice and the aggressiveness here of Matt Carpenter.
Matt Carpenter calling Shelby Miller off the ball. You can see him cheating toward the mound. Miller down and only plays at first base.
Here's a 1-1. Jimmy Rollins is about 140 plate appearances from an option kicking into his contract to pick up for next year. And he was asked about this time last year, would he be willing to waive his no trade clause? He's also 5 and 10, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
And he said no, he wanted to become the Phillies all-time hits leader. Now he has changed his tune. He said, I'm going to give it 6 weeks. If we're still in it, I'm staying. If not, at least I'm going to open up the option to potentially look elsewhere. Got the camera ready. They got the glove ready. They're prepared. Just got to make sure and watch the game. Can't forget about that part. 2-2 pitch to Rollins. On a hop to second, taken by Colton Wong. Reminder, we have ice cream Sundays prior to every game. That's for the kids. North Star ice cream treats in the Ford Plaza while supplies last. Presented by Prairie Farms. Carlos Ruiz doubled to right center, scored on a base hit by Ryan Howard. Has grounded out to short and also flied out to left. How well did you know Jim Fregosi?
Knew him very well.
Very sad.
We were contemporaries. Jim, the assistant to the general manager Frank Wren of the Atlanta Braves, dying of a stroke this past winter.
Ties with St. Louis, ties with the Phillies, obviously. Manager of a team that went to the World Series
back in 1993.
Lost to Toronto. There's some characters on that team now.
Yes, there were.
Kruk, Dalton, Dykstra.
And Jim Fregosi was one of them.
Right, I was about to say, and Fregosi. We'd run into him all the time in the lunchroom, holding court. And this is not good. Shelby Miller. Something's not right with him. That's Greg Houck, the lead trainer for the Cardinals.
Mike Matheny wants to see him throw. It looked like Shelby was telling the trainer something about his torso, it appeared to me.
Let's go back to the last pitch and see if we can pick it up. Right there, Molina caught the strike from Miller, and then it looked like he caught it on the follow through. What may have been apparently wrong with Shelby Miller. The 0-2 pitch. One and two with 2 outs and a runner at third, and a 4-run lead for the Phils here in the 7th. Nearly to the backstop. 2-2.
Talk about an unusual delivery. It looked like a slide step from Shelby Miller with no reason to slide step. You got the runner on at third base, Cesar Hernandez.
Well, since they came out and looked at him, that's 3 straight balls.
Well, keep in mind that play to open the 5th inning, the play on Reed Brignac at first base.
Good point.
Sometimes those things don't affect the body immediately, but perhaps later. Don't know.
One way or another, this may be it for Shelby Miller again. Something not right. Couple lefties coming up, and Mike Matheny will go to his bullpen. So from 0-2, he walks Carlos Ruiz. 3rd walk issued by Shelby Miller, and will step aside. Pittsburgh. And don't forget about the Doing It Right program. Congratulations to St. Francis Elementary. The Doing It Right Most Spirited Award. This was back in February. They prepared the Doing It Right program with decorations all over the classroom, so congratulations. Randy Choate is into the ball game. Very good against lefties this year. The high ERA, pitching in a couple of blowout games in which he faced an awful lot of righties.
Right, that takes until next year to get the earned run average down. Facing two tough left-handers here in Chase Utley, and if Utley gets on, Ryan Howard.
Well, Shelby Miller hopped right off the mound and right to the trainer's room. Some of his teammates were there to at least shake hands with him, and he had no part of it. Went right past his teammates and right to the clubhouse. So runners at the corners here for Chase Utley. Singled to right field in the fourth, scored a run. Singled in the sixth and scored a run on the two-run blast by Ryan Howard. Outfield shading Utley just a bit to left. The 0-1. We're talking about Ryan Howard, just how well he is hit at this ballpark. Chase Utley has played now in, including tonight, 23 career games at Busch. His on-base percentage is right around 500.
He's been on base in every game, right?
There's not been a game he has not been on base.
Yeah, right.
The 2-1 pitch is a ground ball pulled foul. You may be wondering about the patch worn in the front of the jersey for the Phillies, the CB, and that's to honor the life of Claire Betts, who is a partial owner of the club, passed away this offseason. So that's why they have the CB patch in the front of the jersey. Two and two the count. There's the slider. The check swing did not go. But Tim, you can see Molina set up outside, missed inside, and almost got away with it.
It missed about 1.5 feet. Molina setting up outside. He had to reach across the plate, and Utley does not go around.
Choate is trying to keep it a 4-run Phillies lead. The 3-2 pitch, and he struck him out. Choate strikes out Chase Utley. Phillies strand 2. They've left 5 on tonight. Time to stretch here at Busch Stadium. Look at the movement on that pitch. Adams, Molina, the position players. Shelby Miller went 1 for 2 with a double. By the way, we get word on Reed Brignac with the nasty play at first base, and it's no fracture of the ankle. X-rays came back negative, obviously severely sprained, but good news that there's no fracture.
Well, that was an ugly play, I'll tell you, where you didn't know whether it was going to be Brignac, Shelby Miller, or both of them injured.
Alan Craig rips it to third. And the replacement for Brignac is Cesar Hernandez, and he puts it away. It's not a scout for the Brewers. At least we hope not.
No. No. I think you can safely assume that.
Here's Matt Adams. Singled up the middle, takes a pitch for a strike. Also lined out to center field. That changeup by Buchanan has been very effective tonight.
He has used that very effectively. You're exactly right. After the fastball for a strike, the changeup with Matt Adams way out in front. Same arm motion. That's the key. A lot of young pitchers try to speed up their body thinking that's going to fool the hitter. It doesn't. Changeup has to be thrown with the same arm motion as the fastball.
Foul back by Adams.
You know, earlier, Dan, you were talking about Clayton Kershaw's no-hitter last night. Struck out 15, a magnificent performance. And these Phillies had, and I'll tell you after this pitch, the Phillies in 1971 it was a connection to Cardinal history because Rick Wise pitched a no-hitter against the Cincinnati Reds, the Big Red Machine.
The 2-2 is popped up into shallow right. 2 down.
In which he hit two-run home runs. It may have been the greatest pitching performance ever. I don't think that's overstating it.
Some felt last night with Kershaw may have been the greatest no-hit performance in baseball history. With the
of course, it wasn't a perfect game, and it wasn't the fault of Clayton Kershaw. There was an error by Hanley Ramirez.
I think in the 7th.
Yeah, right. But Rick Wise with two-run home runs in that game and pitched a no-hitter. Not too shabby for a night's work.
I'd say so. Man. The Cardinals go quietly here in the 7th. Just 3 hits tonight and a 4-run lead for the Phils. Across the street we go. Fox Sports Midwest Live in our brand new studio. Bommarito Sports Update with Pat Paris. Pat. Pat, thanks. Mazda game summary. 4-run lead for the Phillies. David Buchanan, longest outing of the season for him. 7 innings, scoreless baseball, just 3 hits allowed. Howard, the 3 RBIs. Miller, 6 2/3 for the Cardinals. Adams, 1 for 3. Well, you're talking about Rick Wise, and you think about Steve Carlton.
Yeah, what happened after that season in '71, when in spring training Steve Carlton was traded from the Cardinals to the Phillies, and 251 wins later he went in the Hall of Fame, and there is no telling how many divisions that cost the Cardinals in the 70s alone.
Yep, without a doubt.
Yeah, not that Rick Wise was not a good pitcher. He certainly was. But, I mean, you're not talking Steve Carlton, who went to the Phillies in 1972 from the Cardinals and won 27 games for a team that won only 59 all year.
It's amazing. That's up there with the complete games of Gibson.
Yeah.
You know, the 255 to 251. But, man, oh, man. You were telling me how interesting it was as Ryan Howard as the hitter, but just catching Steve Carlton with his breaking ball and the variance of which he threw it. Once
he developed the slider, taught to him by Bob Gibson on a trip to Japan in 1968, Carlton came up with that tightly wrapped slider, and the first base umpire came into play against right-handed hitters because of check swings. And also, if right-handed hitters put it in play, the third baseman and lefty had a Hall of Fame third baseman playing third, in Mike Schmidt, who could play deep, and he fielded those errant ground balls toward third. And of course Carlton, not that he wouldn't have had that combination of a guy like Schmidt playing third with any other ball club. That certainly added to his prowess. He was something, though.
Are you able to stay in contact with him, or is he out of hiding? Is he in hiding with even his former teammates?
Don't ask me that question.
I think I got my answer.
No, I'm only kidding. I'll see Lefty at the Hall of Fame, the induction of Tony La Russa and Joe Torre, Bobby Cox, Frank Thomas, Tommy Glavine, Greg Maddux. Late July. What a time that is.
Oh, yeah.
Biggest class of Hall of Famers since 1971.
3-2 pitch. And a strikeout of Howard. Randy Choate has come in and struck out Utley with 2 on to end the top of the 7th. It begins the 8th with a strikeout of Ryan Howard.
Pitch out of the strike zone, looked like a slider. I couldn't tell, either a slider or a fastball. Randy features that fastball, and obviously it's tougher on left-handers because of that motion.
Now Marlon Byrd with another lefty on deck. Mike Matheny sticking here with Randy Choate. I don't know about you, but I wish either the Hall of Fame would make them do this, or they would decide for the player. A ground ball off the glove of Carpenter to Peralta and a base hit. But I wish the player or the manager, in this case Tony La Russa going in, Greg Maddux also elected to do this, but on the plaque will not have the emblem of the team.
Yeah.
So I just, you know, when you think
I know what you mean. I don't dramatically share that feeling, but I understand, and I'm leaning that way.
The reason I say it is, 50, 75 years, 100 years from now, people walk into the Hall of Fame, you want to see the team of which the player or manager had the most prominence, I think. And of course you're going to read about it anyway. It's going to be described on the plaque. Now, I'm not going to go fighting anybody over this now.
No.
I'm still not losing sleep, but
I guess Joe Torre will go in as a Yankee manager, right? I would assume.
Correct.
Obviously, one of the reasons they're retiring Joe's number prior to the Hall of Fame voting. I believe it's prior.
It is.
Yeah.
Tony La Russa talked about it being a situation where he didn't want to slight an organization that he worked for with the White Sox, Oakland, or here in St. Louis.
I understand that too. I mean, Jerry Reinsdorf is his best friend, the owner of the Chicago White Sox.
Strike to Dominic Brown. Maddox felt the same way. Had great years with both Chicago and Atlanta. The 1-1. Ground ball up the middle. Could be two. Can they even get one? They will.
Wong had a quick decision to make. Marlon Byrd hustling to second base. And Colton made the right play.
A 4-run lead here for the Phillies, and Mike Matheny will go to his bullpen. AT&T fan photo tonight. There it is in all its glory. So that's it for Randy Choate. Seth Maness has been getting loose in the pen, and he'll come on when we come back. And this includes all-in pricing, no surprise fees at checkout. StubHub, your ticket to upgrades and more. Get well to Terry Graves, who works here at the ballpark and watching tonight. Hey, get back here soon, Terry. Seth Maness, our Chevy call to the pen.
27th appearance for Seth. And if he's right, he'll get the ground balls.
That pitch hit out of play.
It's very difficult for a guy like Seth to rely on anything other than the sinker when he comes in the game. He's not in a position, as few bullpenners are, to work on any other pitch. So if you're an opposing hitter, I mean, you understand his plight, so you look for the fastball.
Oh, inside, nearly hit him. Now, Terry has worked down here for a number of years. I know the staff misses her, the players do, and even the umpires. So get well, Terry Graves. Hit to short. Nice work, Seth Maness. and Bud Light reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Four nothing. Home half of the eighth. And that pitch taken low and away by Johnny Peralta. At one point, Buchanan, Tim, set down 11 straight. Then it was the double by Miller. And since that time, it's 6 straight.
So the only base runner that the Cardinals have had since the second inning, the double by Shelby Miller.
Cardinals' best opportunity came with Peralta, second inning, with 2 on and 1 out.
It's the only opportunity.
Yeah.
Cardinals have had 4 base runners tonight. Matt Carpenter hit by a pitch in the first, 2 singles, and the double by Shelby Miller.
The 2-1 pitch. Your time in Philly, you spent a number of seasons there. Did you find it overly difficult with the media, or is it something that's blown out of proportion to an extent? Or even the fan base too?
Well, I think the fan base is fervent, just like Cardinal fans. You know, they of course, Cardinal fans, you rarely hear Cardinal fans boo. Rarely.
Yes.
You do hear Philly fans boo.
There you go, a leadoff walk.
Pete Rose used to say, "I've never been booed in a white uniform." Never been booed in a white uniform, and he wasn't. And I kind of had that same feeling. I mean,
sure.
You know, you booed on the road because you anticipated.
At home, a different story.
And to me, the Philly fans were booing because of the results. It was almost nothing personal, in my opinion. Other guys had different thoughts. I'll tell you, I would not leave Buchanan out there any longer. I mean, the Phillies have the best bullpen in the National League. 1.31 earned run average.
2-0 to Wong. The Phillies have had activity in the pen. Carry 3 lefties.
One of those lefties is hot right now. What you'd like to do when you bring in a player is trade a player for a player.
Two-one, and that's a change-up again. Popped up. Howard over near the Cardinal dugout, and he makes the catch.
You could throw that change-up with a 4-run lead on a 2-1 count, behind in the count. Ruiz out to talk to Buchanan right now, but this changeup has served Buchanan well all night long. Here comes Bob McClure, the pitching coach. It's one of those how do you feel meetings. That's it. Ryan Sandberg makes the moves, of course, as do most major league managers. Can't think of the last manager who sent his pitching coach out to make a move.
Change, yeah. Well, you just said it's one of those how do you feel conversations.
Yeah.
You are part of a lot of these, okay? So you go out there. You recall a pitcher saying, you know what, yeah, I'm ready. Take me out.
I never.
Exactly.
Never. Nope.
And if a guy says, yeah,
Against
I'm ready.
everything they stand for.
Exactly.
You know, they want to continue to pitch. Yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine.
And if a pitcher would say, I do want to be taken out, you probably don't want him on your team anyway.
No, that's right.
Mark Ellis, the pinch hitter. We give Buchanan credit. I mean, he has taken the middle of this lineup, shut him down.
Yep.
Ellis is a pinch hitter, 2 for 5 this year. Outfield is shallow. 0-2 the count. the Cardinals right now in the pen. Looks like Nick Greenwood is getting loose, carrying 3 lefties right now. Little check swing. Ruiz pounces on it, and he makes the play. Peralta to second base, top of the lineup, and Matt Carpenter. Even when the Cardinals have won 8 of 10, and you went back and talked about where it started to change for the Cardinals was in that Toronto series.
I think Shelby Miller's shutout.
Yes.
On June 6th.
Cardinals still had 2 games, Tim, that they won that they had only 3 hits.
Yeah, I know.
And tonight, only 3 hits. It still has been an underlying problem at times with this team, trying to find consistent offense.
Yeah, their pitching has done the bulwark of the winning, with rare exceptions. You had the Matt Adams with the 4 game-winning hits, 4 games in a row, including all 3 games against Washington.
The 0-1-2 Carpenter. Matt was hit by a pitch in the first, grounded out to Ryan Howard back in the 3rd. And with the runner at second base in the 6th, flied out to center.
Cardinals have scored on average more than 1 run fewer than last year, or less than last year. And that is huge through 72 games.
Carpenter rips it into right field. That ball will get down. It's a base hit. Third fields it, and the throw will come into second base as a run does score. Hard hit liner, RBI for Matt Carpenter, number 27, and the Cardinals get on the board.
Yeah, I think Ron Sandberg's going to make the move 1 hitter too late. As far as the way I see it, here comes Sandberg right now. But to me, I think you bring the left-hander in to pitch to Colton Wong. You've got 3 out of the next 4 Cardinals as left-handed batters.
Jake Dykman has been getting loose in the pen, and he'll come on when we come back. Carpenter, the 2-out RBI. Redbirds get on the board. Authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Well, Dykman is in for a team-high 34th appearance. Opponents hitting just .244 against him. 33 2/3 innings pitched. Lefty takes over with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Rally caps are out. And John Jay will be the hitter against this lefty in our Chevy call to the pen.
One of the toughest left-handers in a very short time in the National League. We mentioned that the Phillies have a 1.31 earned run average from their bullpen. And in large part, this young man is tough.
He may not hitting just 156 against him.
Yeah, he may not be in the Aroldis Chapman category yet, but he's not too far behind it. You just talk to the left-handed hitters in the National League, and they will tell you when the one thing that Chapman doesn't do, he doesn't drop down like Dykeman does. Makes him very, very tough from the left side.
Well, you may be wondering, why is John Jay facing this lefty? And the reason is John Jay hitting .419 against left-handed pitching this year. A breaking pitch in there at 81 miles an hour, and strike one. Jay has bounced into a double play, grounded out to short, and grounded to first. 2 outs, runner at first, and a 4-1 Phillies lead. Boy, that's nasty. That is nasty.
And breaking ball appears to just keep on breaking.
He's throwing 96 with his fastball. Jay hits it the other way. Well hit deep into left, and the catch is made by Dominic Brown. 4-1 after 8. The Phillies 1-4-0 for St. Louis. And here is Nick Greenwood, the lefty, made his major league debut against the Mets, went 3 1/3 in relief of Carlos Martinez, picked up the win in his debut. It's our Chevy call to the pen.
Yeah, he worked 3 1/3 innings in doing so. Went to the University of Rhode Island. Only 5 major league players that have gone to the University of Rhode Island. Can't be that lucrative a baseball program, one wouldn't think. Cold winters.
Absolutely. Saw he had a late break on his slider, and with lefties he would be able to drop down even further, more of a sidearm pitch, and was very effective in that regard.
And feels his position well.
Yes, he does. Right on cue. One away.
That was a good play by Nick. Ball hit hard back through the box. Nothing to it. You realize when a pitcher lets go of the ball, he's about 6 feet farther, or 7 feet, or 8 feet farther. Instead of 60 feet 6 inches, he's 52 feet. Reactions paramount.
Here is Ben Revere. He's got all kinds of speed. Revere, the pinch hitter. The lefty for the Phillies came in. Dykeman and retired Jay. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Cardinals looking to the bottom of this 9th inning. We'll have Holiday, Craig, and Adams.
Ben Revere splattered against the outside fence in left center field in Atlanta. Hurt his left knee. Sure, that's a good sign for the Phillies. Well enough to pinch hit tonight.
He's made some highlight reel catches.
Yeah, he really has.
Man, does he have good speed, good jumps. Oh, up and in. 3-1 the count.
Ball apparently got away from Greenwood. He asked for another ball and signaled his hands were sweating. Revere, fortunately, out of the way quickly.
Pitch before is coming at your face. That pitch catches the black on the outside corner. Tough lead. 3-2. We chase ball 4. Outfield very, very shallow. Greenwood spins and throws, makes the play. Well, don't forget the Home Run Derby on ESPN Monday, July 14th. The All-Star Game on Fox, July 15th. Turns around Jimmy Rollins, 250 hitter from the right side of the plate, 246 from the left side to start a play tonight. And a strike at the knees. No balls, 1 strike with 2 outs and nobody on. Rollins single back in the 3rd, then was erased with a caught stealing. Papelbon, the closer, getting loose in the pen for the Phillies. 2 balls and 1 strike. Papelbon is 24th all-time in saves, picked up number 300 earlier this season. And he's 1 away from former Philly Doug Jones for 303 on the all-time saves list. Only 26 have done it to get to 300 saves.
And just think, Mariano Rivera, who retired after last season, with more than twice that amount.
Essentially 1 pitch. The aforementioned cutter.
The cutter of cutters.
Well, you can say that again. Man, oh man. 2-2. Take it just a bit high. 3-2 pitch, and Rollins hits it in the air to shallow right field. Taken there by Craig. Papelbon will come on. The Cardinals have Holiday, Craig, and Adams coming up in the bottom of the ninth. Phillies, David Buchanan. What a night. 7 2/3, the 4 hits, just 1 earned. The Phillies turn it over to their closer, Jonathan Papelbon, 33-year-old from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Baton Rouge.
And some tremendous seasons with Boston. Now in his 3rd season with the Phillies. He is signed through next year. He was the fastest ever to 200 saves.
Jonathan Papelbon, I think, Dan, is a perfect example of a guy that we were talking about earlier. When you're out of the bullpen, you don't really have a chance to work on things.
Yeah.
But with the three-run save rule, like he's in right now, it's 4-1 Philadelphia. To me, I would work on things like the splitter and the slider that are excellent pitches for him. But his thinking is, in a 1-run save game, you hate to get beaten on anything other than the fastball.
From what we're told, the velocity is down from when you saw him with Boston, certainly initially with the Phillies.
Yeah, right.
But he has, and you talked about it, the splitter is just a nasty pitch.
His other pitches are better, in my opinion, better than he thinks they are.
Inside to Holiday. 1 ball, 1 strike. Matt tonight is grounded out to short. He struck out, flied out to left with a runner on. Cardinals trail 4-1 here in the bottom of the ninth. Popped up. That's one that Holiday would love back. He kept that pitch up and missed it. 1 away. Well, at home, 7 of 7. On the road, 9 of 11. ERA of 3.38.
Yeah, one of those save opportunities the other night in Atlanta. The Atlanta Braves got a couple of flares, a 1-0 game in the 9th inning. And Papelbon came in to save it. Was unsuccessful. Atlanta tied the game, and the Phillies won it the 12th.
He is a 5-time All-Star. Most recently in 2012. That's a good slider there. Left Boston as a free agent, signed a 4-year deal. He does have a vesting option. It's pretty easily reachable for Papelbon, potentially to turn into a 5-year deal. 1 ball, 1 strike. Craig has struck out twice and also lined out. 1 for 3 against this right-hander with a double in his career. Crowd tonight, 42,106. 22nd sellout this year. Here's a 1-2. The 2-2. Primarily so far, we've seen the fastball and the slider.
1 split to Matt Holliday. He left up but got away with it.
Three-2. Hit out of play. A year ago, he had 29 saves. First season, 38 with the Phillies. 3-2 pitch. Popped up. Shallow right. Utley going out. Called off. 2 down. Best season for Jonathan Papelbon was in 2008. He had 41 saves. 2009 wound up at 38. He was never below 31 saves while with the Boston Red Sox. The final hope for St. Louis, Matt Adams. Story tonight, though, David Buchanan shutting down the Cardinals offense. Just 4 hits for St. Louis tonight.
You talked about it earlier. Washington lost tonight to Atlanta, and if the Phillies win, then Washington's lead over the Phillies would be 4 games.
That is hard to imagine.
You say, well, it's a weak division. Well, so what?
You get in, you get in.
That's right.
Ask the 06 Cardinals about that. Just get in.
Good point.
And as you mentioned, it's so hard now with the 3 rounds.
Oh, boy.
You catch fire for 3 weeks.
Sure.
You're a world champion, potentially. 2-0 pitch to Adams. 2-1. Matt has singled up the middle, lined out, flied out. On the air tomorrow at 6:30. Garcia and Burnett. They have broken his bat, pulled it foul, and the Cardinals down to their final strike. Papelbon, not one that's shy about holding back his thoughts either.
No. Nor his emotions.
No. The 2-2.
Nor his dancing ability after a game.
How about that, huh?
I think the Boston Red Sox, remembering it from going in and putting on his shorts and coming out barefooted and celebrating the World Series championship back in, I think it was 2007.
Colorado.
Over Colorado,
yeah.
Right. He's the freest of spirits.
The 2-2. Get out of play again. I know you find free spirits in all walk of life, but baseball just seems to have the greatest collection of them. Especially if you're left-handed in the bullpen.
Most of them are pitchers.
If not all. Here's another 2-2. Got him to reach for it. They should do it. Phillies are playing very good baseball. They take game 1 of this series 4-1. The Cardinals pick up only 4 hits tonight.
There aren't too many times that you can go on the road and sweep the Atlanta Braves and then win the first game against the Cardinals, facing very, very good pitching. Shows you how potent the Phillies can be with a red-hot Ryan Howard.
3 RBIs tonight for the St. Louisan. Also the story, David Buchanan picks up the win. He's 3-3. Miller the loss, 7-6. Papelbon is 17 save. Post-game show comes your way next.